Moorish tradition. Perpendicular position, no longer in that mummy state. They lied to us, said we got shipped from miles away. But the old Meg heads look just like me. The flow a gift like Patriot, St. Maurice. That's charitable, these lands inheritable. Reversion of a state inevitable. So stop your street, I'm on a plane out of your reach. And I ain't talking Delta seats. All metaphysics with a well-blended civics. We caliphs, not lieutenants. This guy was jealous like Musa bin Nusayr. Drew Ali revelation, new Moors is here. Displaying the art, Khalifa society, matriarch.
Moorish master MC, also a grand sheik. Delectable Negro, barbecue when the clan meet. See me in my fairs, won't mistake me for black man or colored. Might assume I'm a Masonic brother. Brown chronic lover, eager roller, edible supper. Vibrate at a high rate, turn to a dimension jumper. Hit the soul plane, quick build with the prophet. Get back to the earth plane, dismissed on the docket. Magistrate lane and vomit, janitor bring the comet. No bond paid, temple gets a deposit. Sketch not composite. Left no witness, left blue on the litmus. Get altitude sickness, so high on your head. Whenever I spit this, I'm the type to forget, so you get no forgiveness. Business is strictly like Eric and Parrish. Moreno is my status if you're speaking in Spanish. Man or manish when I draw from the chalice, looking like the paintings of Arabs.
Let me tell you what you said. If you should lose.
Sufi mystic, T4 from the hype Moorish tradition. Perpendicular position, no longer in that mummy state. They lied to us, said we got shipped from miles away. But the old Meg heads look just like me. The flow a gift like Patriot, St. Maurice. That's charitable, these lands inheritable. Reversion of a state inevitable. So stop your street, I'm on a plane out of your reach. And I ain't talking Delta seats. All metaphysics.
Power off.
With a well-blended civics, we caliphs, not lieutenants. This guy was jealous like Musa bin Nusayr. Drew Ali revelation, new Moors is here. Displaying the art, Khalifa society, matriarch.
Power on.
Moorish master MC, also a grand sheik. Delectable Negro, barbecue when the clan meet. See me in my fairs, won't mistake me for black man or color.
Let me tell you what you said. If you should lose.
The Sufi mystic, T4 from the hype Moorish tradition. Perpendicular position, no longer in that mummy state. They lied to us, said we got shipped from miles away. But the old Meg heads look just like me. The flow a gift like Patriot, St. Maurice. That's charitable, these lands inheritable. Reversion of a state inevitable. So stop your street, I'm on a plane out of your reach. And I ain't talking Delta seats. All metaphysics with a well-blended civics. We caliphs, not lieutenants. This guy was jealous like Musa bin Nusayr. Drew Ali revelation, new Moors is here. Displaying the art, Khalifa society, matriarch.
Moorish master MC, also a grand sheik. Delectable Negro, barbecue when the clan meet. See me in my fairs, won't mistake me for black man or colored. Might assume I'm a Masonic brother. Brown chronic lover, eager roller, edible supper. Vibrate at a high rate, turn to a dimension jumper. Hit the soul plane, quick build with the prophet. Get back to the earth plane, dismissed on the docket. Magistrate lane and vomit, janitor bring the comet. No bond paid, temple gets a deposit. Sketch not composite. Left no witness, left blue on the litmus. Get altitude sickness, so high on your head. Whenever I spit this, I'm the type to forget, so you get no forgiveness. Business is strictly like Eric and Parrish. Moreno is my status if you're speaking in Spanish. Man or manish when I draw from the chalice, looking like the paintings of Arabs. Tiger head, rug in the palace, accepting your challenge. Flannel gloves slap since you thought I was average. Carried by 1,000 scarabs over the hot sand. Last name comes from Moors that rule Scots land. Black or Moors, you thought Elizabeth got banned. Drew Ali, name known again, was not planned. Try to call me Indian, no, that will not stand. Forget to say the prayer, now I feel I'm in Copland. Forgot the amethyst, start rubbing on stone shaman. Cause a glitch in the matrix, stop feds from charging. Body frozen, walking past, the eyes enlarging. With a ray gun, like Marvin Martian. That's all, folks, when we activate carbon. End it all like arson, or your face on a carton.
I'm a Moorish American man, national. 360 degrees is added to my arsenal. Like a carpenter, got me building temples, but mentally noble Jew, I lead the measure and stick your activities. I came here to predicate, changing negativity. Precisely, my purpose is to uplift humanity. So why you mad at me? Cause you know I'm a Moor. 2,000 years with the prophet like I've been here before. Go ahead and diss the prophet cause you're so immature. When justice come knock at your door, bodies will hit the floor like a fofo. Puzzle your brain just like a jigsaw. Moosey cut your head off and did we play ping pong. Looking through the peephole cause you hear the ding dong. I don't sing songs, I'm the champ with no rings on. Concrete jungle gives a fuck about King Kong. I'm ready to go and when I die I scream out yeehaw like kids y'all. Cause my last verse would be Islam. What up more, my higher self is keeping me this calm.
First and foremost, Moors at the shore, pushing them overboard. Solid. Storming outside. Storming outside. This will be the last time I told you. Remember the first time I showed you, I told the truth of love, cause, and effects. Ain't pressed or vexed, don't be stressed, want more, nothing less, pressing against my impress, baby, let go of the stress, I put some birds in the nest, but what's next, baby, I'm buck wild, say fuck the whole crowd, she come with the force now, and we getting divorced now, but I love it. Hate to keep the peace of mind the size of peas of pine cones. Got me at home, making love alone, the metronome. To make it known, I got hip hop in a dreadlock. A higher octave, a octagon, you can stop, but that hex is on you. Have you seen Saw 2? My G got me wanting you, boo. All in my ear telling me what to do. He be spraying, we be saying. Philly in the trunk, your ghost in the cell. Philly got debunked, fighting for his freedom. Philly got some lump. Moors at the shore, pushing them overboard. Waist at his ankles, but it hit him from an angle that he couldn't recover. Back on the covers, closing the cupboard, Indian in the cupboard, too young for the reference. So they put black on us, just more misnomers. Moors at the shore so that you missing the source. Annoyance, more clairvoyance, I got appointed. Anointed, vision from God made me enormous.
Walk the plank while moored on the bank. Scimitar pokes, not a jailhouse shank. Pirates of Barbary chase him with a Corvette. Dr. Mindbender, seduce him with the Baroness. Cut him like Gillette, Ham, not Japheth. Noble Drew Ali before Buddha or Muhammad. Fez and turban, wet sweat dripping from my forehead. Looking like a family crest with a Moorhead. Your ancestors called it magic, Thor said. Moors custodians of Egypt, priests with a hawk head. Devils we call colonists, blacks full of incompetence. Only debate equals FOH theologists. And others religious around truth acts suspicious. Allah is within us, external gods fictitious. Identity descriptive, lies are so vicious. Malicious, delectable Negroes delicious. Fried foreskin rings eaten by politicians. Sleep with the dean for Ivy League admissions. Suck pastor, rabbis love circumcisions. Imam got Muslims worshipping apparitions. To only accept death wearing a red dress. Killing you with stress, minds being possessed. Fines being no less on contracts acquiesce. Show law no respect but want Moors as defense. Lacking common sense, leave them in suspense. Truth gets absorbed, lies always reflects. Moors at the shore, pushing them overboard. Enter shark infested, calling for their lord. Or fall on their sword, that's your reward. Shots fired, hang them like a bulletin board. bring it back. Like Jordan in 45, who I'm more by cat. Prove that hip-hop lives, they deceived you with rap. Deceived you with language, deceived you with maps. Deceived you with civil rights, abandoned the human ones. No right for child abuse by the pedophilians. I thought I was done rhyming, but had to bring it back. Like Jordan in 45, who I'm more by cat. Prove that hip-hop lives, they deceived you with rap. Deceived you with language, deceived you with maps. Deceived you with civil rights, abandoned the human ones. No right for child abuse by the pedophilians. For making visits to apologize to natives who really are the foreigners. Watch the pre-shapeshift, change form. We call it she, him, her, to make the Babylon fall with no timber. Got to stretch daily, keep the joints limber. Even Kareem name corrected from our cinder. You can't hide truth from a hardcore student. Black means death in the science of jurisprudence. In law, that's black status, dead civilly. All Moors are active, no passivity. No matter what you said, don't care what you saw. You're not gonna get me to say I'm not a Moor. No matter what you show or told me before, you're not gonna get me to say I'm not a Moor. No matter the games you play, no matter the score, you're not gonna get me to say I'm not a Moor. No matter if he's killed a cop, shattered his jaw, you're not gonna get me to say I'm not a Moor. 101 questions, multiple lessons. Study like a super nerd, late night sessions. Finding out so much facts, how are you in doubt? Drew Ali brought you something to yell and shout about. If they're not convinced, their minds probably mince. But if they persist, pass a book like an assist. Most books I gave out never got returned, but got cases adjourned and ignorance unlearned. Got the debt discharged, collection took a settlement. Credit card company guilty of fraud, negligence. Standing on the square, no attorney to represent. A firm never swear, fezzes up, I'm not Methodist. Great Seal medallion, crystal beads mala. Riding with Killmonger, CIA owned T'Challa. Be careful where you walk more, watch for disaster. My teacher's still a master on the platform of a pastor. No matter what you said, don't care what you saw, you're not gonna get me to say I'm not a Moor. No matter what you show or told me before, you're not gonna get me to say I'm not a Moor. No matter the games you play, no matter the score, you're not gonna get me to say I'm not a Moor. No matter if he's killed a cop, shattered his jaw, you're not gonna get me to say I'm not a Moor. Honest to the prophet, Drew Ali, not Brister. Don't worry what they say loud, but what they whisper. Spies everywhere tell me, you're calling it snitching. Energy talks loud, I knew from the beginning. Mothers who they trusted told me he was tripping. All the honey dipping, their own grave they're digging. Listen, I'm not new to this, I had the best tutorship. Moorish Science Temple, Adab Chamber rulership. Big brothers and clan mothers taught me the ways. What time to sun gauge, truism cliches, taboo hidden meanings, feelings of visitors. Most remain picketers and stay on perimeters. In our chat solicitors, responded and petitioners, challenge jurisdiction of the CRA commissioners. No matter what you said, don't care what you saw, you're not gonna get me to say I'm not a Moor. No matter what you show or told me before, you're not gonna get me to say I'm not a Moor. No matter the games you play, no matter the score, you're not gonna get me to say I'm not a Moor. No matter if he's killed a cop, shattered his jaw, you're not gonna get me to say I'm not a Moor. More.
Yo, Grand Sheep, man, these fools is pissing me off. I already told you not to entertain these fools, man. What's wrong with you?
You know I got him.
Yeah, I know, but, you know, it's getting to a point where I'm ready, yo. It's just some button cut shit I'm on, bro. Straight button cut.
In the scope.
Any violation, you already know what it is. I ain't even into no long talking, and I even have to bring the thing for them, but, yo, them fools, y'all have to know their self and know their place.
You guys are killing yourselves. Always looking for a way out. Only way out is your hard work. If you don't do it yourself, it's not gonna happen. You're not gonna sit there and fucking listen to sellouts that's gonna help you get to where you need to get to. These weave-wearing, fat, lazy people.
Tongue shit.
Yo, Grand Sheik, man, these fools is pissing me off. I already told you not to entertain these fools, man. What's wrong with you?
You know I got them.
Yeah, I know, but, you know, it's getting to a point where I'm ready, yo. It's just some button cut shit I'm on, bro. Straight button cut.
In the scope.
Any violation, you already know what it is. I ain't even into no long talking, and I even have to bring the thing for them. But, yo, them fools out there for know their self and know their place.
You guys are killing yourselves. Always looking for a way out. Only way out is your hard work. If you don't do it yourself, it's not gonna happen. You're not gonna sit there and fucking listen to sellouts that's gonna help you get to where you need to get to. These weave-wearing, fat, lazy people.
Tongue scimitar left the sheets. Dirty Moors are beneath. Replace the mother's head. Have a carry their wreath. Traders with cock eyes and coffee-stained teeth. Smoking a bogey. Wrote a book with Rami. Thought he's my homie. Now he's flying cartoon flags. Dancing like a drag queen. Whale face. When you look up what a fag mean. Camera elbow face. Look up treason. Saying the Canaanland but not seen at Temple 5 meetings. Using our address, disrespect is callous. See me and look down, eye contact leaves him paralysis. Moors begging to light them up like Aurora Borealis. Instead of dropping rolls on them, drop a Moorish palace. Hulk smash to dust, blow away like blunt trash. Trader more so dirty, lips have a cunt rash. Claim they leave the station, saw the punks pass. Butler Moore's claim consul general flashing a badge. Made in China by Taj Street Bay Dick Rider. Selling false promises to die by witch fire. Burned at the stake under a heaping pile of mat deep. The smell would be disgusting but make me happy. Don't drink enough water, watch how the lips chappy. Lying on Drew Ali, belly yellow like Aki. When Dirty Moors ambush, they spit on but never slap me. Not even a punch. These online talking shit punks. Using Zooms to sell a package. 35 racks, violate Zodiac and Divine. 35 straps tied to a pole. 20 more for selling your soul. Use a fire hose when trolls spraying the trolls. Head kicked like a field goal. See me like a peephole. Keep you part and partial so you never be whole. Online scholars nowadays play a unique role. Sell a package to the right more buried in a deep hole. Wrapped in plastic, call them Snickers. Using my name to upload titles, got them triggered. Zombified in their lives, out eyes, falling skippers. Abandoned Moorish ties to be spies for vicars. Ladies in the red dress call Hayes and Callaways. If they had obeyed, they wouldn't be dragged through the alleyways. I'm not cordial, thrown in a portal for immortals. Negro bystanders think it's paranormal, but it's formal. We don't argue or quarrel. Dirty Moor should get touched for acting clitoral. Stroked when provoked, sellouts wearing the yoke. Tilling the lands on bare hands and knees for jokes. Or calling the clan, deliver a sellout to the grand wizard. Or make them lick a frozen pole during a blizzard. Or waist high in a fish tank, piranha is Richard. On my Clint Eastwood, I can't stand niggas. Don't wanna mirror Moors and act like slave pitchers. Watch for Dirty Moors, they move like snake slither. Treason committed, under torture, quick to admit it. Cleverness of the righteous surprises the wicked.
Sitting on the couch all day, just sitting here telling y'all what to do. And y'all just sitting here fat, watching them, paying for these dumbass packages. There's no sugar coating. That's what it is. That's what's happening.
Actually, lucky thing I don't have much more room to talk. I had enough to say too, you know. You guys ain't fucking with none of our leaders, bro. Not our Grand Sheik, anybody. And today Jamal got free up too. Rise of the Moors, you know what it is. We all over, worldwide, universal. Islam.
Islam. Islam. Some people say we need to go read Message to the Black Man and all this BS. Right, but before we go there, we're talking about the calendar. So let's just put it like this. As a Moor, your duty is, when you have a question, go look it up. Because more than likely, if you just look it up, you're going to get your answer. It's something amazing. There's this thing called dictionaries. There's this thing called dictionaries. And everybody, well, I'm from the generation where either it was your house, auntie's house, uncle whoever's house, and then they had these bookshelves in the house. You never really paid attention to them. And then at the bottom, they had all these big ones, you know, and then their children, which would be your cousins or whatever like that, their parent has them reading a book on the shelf a day and all this. And then now they're a doctor or whatever like that, and you realize that, hey, dictionaries could teach you something. Books are for learning. Wow. So, as a Moor, one of the things that I like to do is, if I don't know something, look it up. But not just look it up, but look it up in multiple different dictionaries. Because guess what? There's not just language dictionaries. There's God dictionaries. Dictionary of the gods? Why is there a dictionary? I thought there's only one God and all that stuff. We have a dictionary of the gods. So what we do is we want to make sure that we look stuff up. Especially if you're new coming into this or whatever like that. Don't go over there and go pay for his course or whatever like that. Just go take that same finance you're going to go a course and then go buy a dictionary. So what we do as Moors, when we came into this information or whatever like that, the master teachers taught us to, have your tools when you go study. And some of the tools is having books, right? Don't worry when you move, how you're going to move them and all that stuff. Don't worry about all that. That means nothing, right? There's an energy behind books. Remember, all this has to do with calendar. So don't think I went off into some tangent or something like that. We're talking about calendar. We just have to lead you to there. One of the dictionaries that Moors particularly, when you look at, the conscious whatever paradigm, hardly anybody else deals with this. Majority of the times, Moors would be dealing with this subject matter. So as Moors, we have law dictionaries. That if there's, because nobody knows everything. So, you know what I mean? Like, it was, great question. Because I never thought, look up calendar. Why did I think look up calendar? It wasn't even a thought in the mind. All these years of, I'm a Moor and we got nationality cards and whatever like that. Never looked up calendar in the law dictionary. And then you come on today and then you ask the question, which, as the master teachers taught us, the best question is the one you ask. The dumbest question is the one that you don't. So then your little question now is going to be teaching some other people who never looked up calendar. And they probably thought calendar, and then they're going to the thing with the boxes and they're putting X's on it and all that stuff, say that's calendar. Right? So let's just look up. And you could ask these Moors in the chat. This is not stuff we do. We don't read to people and that stuff. We tell you. But because I never looked it up before, I want to know too. Like, yeah, never looked up calendar in the law dictionary before. Let's see what calendar is. Some people have questions. Calendar. This is our Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition. Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition. Because there's edition, 18 or something now. But you don't want those ones. You want edition 1 to 4. Everything else, it's useless to you. Calendar. The established order of the division of time into years, months, weeks, and days, or a systematized enumeration of such arrangement, an almanac. Well, they thought you almanacs are only for farmers. No, almanac is a calendar. They just stopped calling it almanac and started calling it calendar, and then everybody's looking at the box and scratching off dates. Birthday, anniversary, and whatever like that. When if people been around for millions of years, how is it 14 something? How is it 2000 something? It's been around millions of years. So calendar, we've been played. This calendar is almanac. Then you go check almanac, and then it takes you to somewhere else. That is not about some boxes on the wall with the muscle, the D's man on it, giving you the flexing. You got it marching off your dates. Calendar days. So it goes down into different categories of words that come with calendar. So you can see the broad scope. Calendar days. A calendar day contains 24 hours, but calendar days may be synonymous with working days. From the time from midnight to midnight. Oh, they told you 6 a.m. and 8 a.m. and all that stuff. The sunrise and all that is when it starts. Remember, we're talking about calendar. We're not talking about anything else right now. We're talking about calendar days. Calendar days. "24 hours? Working days? The majority of people work. Majority of people work. And then it's from midnight to midnight. Calendar month. One of the months of the year as enumerated in the calendar. One of the months of the year. That this is 12, but then how come February has days that if you move some days around, then you can have 13, which would more be in harmony with the moon, since the moon is so close to Earth, and we get out of this thing with the box and the numbers on it. That's not what it is. Calendar week. A block of 7 days registered on calendar beginning with Sunday and ending on Saturday. And then you go check Sunday, then sun, then Saturday, and then Saturn and Saturday, and then you go through all of the different days, and all the days are relative to planet. Oh, so then we'll just stuff the box on the wall. And you got the X's on there. Yeah, oh yeah, this day, oh, it's gonna be so this day. Calendar year. The period from January to December, inclusive. Ordinarily, calendar year means 365 days except leap year, and is composed of 12 months varying in length. Footnote: calendar year preceding election means year beginning January 1st and ending December 31st. Calendar of causes. A list of the causes instituted in a particular court and now ready for trial, drawn up before beginning of the term. It is sometimes called the trial list or docket. And so a docket's a calendar. Calendar of prisoners. In English practice, a list kept by the sheriffs containing the names of all the prisoners in their custody, with the several judgments against each in the margin. Special calendar. A calendar or list of causes containing those set down especially for hearing, trial, or argument. So you see how this set up calendar to be the stuff on the wall with the sexy lady on it, and then you're looking at that as the calendar. When you should really be thinking almanac, and you should be looking at everything astrologically, instead of looking at things from this created jurisdiction. And then when you go to Noble Drew Ali's teachings, and he's talking about days and weeks and putting things in a metaphysical dictionary now, that you start looking at, oh, well, 7, if they said 7, what does that mean metaphysically? Why 7? Why not any other number? And then you start broadening your scope without going to have to pay 10 grand to some guy over here because they got some conference, they're going to teach you about something that they never even looked up. And then you see for yourself, which is what you're talking about after that, with the priesthood being dead and who's the priesthood and all that stuff. The priesthood are the people who's not going to tell it to you like this. The priesthood are the ones who they're getting their lap dance. Right? No matter who you're talking about, Huguenots, Jubilees, Romans, Carthaginians, Greeks, doesn't matter who you're talking about, everybody's us. So there ain't no, oh, well, those people over there, and then because they're Roman, they did something. No, those people are us that did BS. Everybody's us. So that's the other lesson that the people have to learn. That when they're coming into this information with their nigger mind, that you got to throw away all that people are the devil stuff too. Because that's some BS. Because the devil is yourself. And either you're going to live as God or live as the devil. Pick one. There's not too many options for you. This stuff is the priesthood people are like Nation of Islam, who we're going to talk about. Because all day been killing these people on Facebook. How come you guys are having your leader guy kiss another man and you're telling me some BS about justifying that? And then they're bringing up Malcolm Little as if that's somebody. Who the hell's Malcolm Little? Who's that? Killing these people. Just drawing their files, bringing all the. Well, actually, let's go get some of the El-Hajj files. Let's go get some of the El-Hajj files. Let's go get some of the El-Hajj files. Let's get some of the El-Hajj files on these sellouts.
with regret, with great regret. There's no organization in this country that could do more for the struggling black man than the Black Muslim movement if it wanted to. But it has gotten into the possession of a man who's become senile in his old age and perhaps doesn't realize it. And then he has surrounded himself by his children who are now in power and want nothing but luxury and security and comfort and will do anything to safeguard their own interests.
Right? Will do anything to safeguard their own interests. Will do anything. Anything. Remember, this is their paper. Remember, this is their paper, right? This is their paper. It's not Moore's or whatever. This is their paper. Honoring an honorable man. 2019. Men from several black Masonic lodges came together to pay homage, honor, and respect to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan of the Nation of Islam during a special gathering at the palace, home of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Now let's skip the BS for you. There was a palatable excitement and mutual respect among the men gathered at the palace. The minister has taught diligently for the majority of his life to resurrect black people from their grave of ignorance, and this is an honor that's overdue, but that must be done because of the time that we're in, said Dr. Mark Stevens, member of Omega Psi Phi, who was invited to the gathering as a guest. He is also a Prince Hall Mason. This is who they're honoring. The Lodge Brotherhood BS. Patriarchal BS. This is where they're at with it. Right? The minister has taught diligently for the majority of his life to resurrect black people from their grave. How could they be resurrected from their grave if he's calling them black, and black means dead, which means you're in the grave? Black means dead. How is Nation of Islam resurrecting anybody from a grave if they're identifying the people as dead? But these are your leaders. For Melvin Little of Atlanta, the gathering was like a dream to be amongst history. Just to be here, to stand here on the floor with a great man like Farrakhan, I'm speechless. Really, said Mr. Little. He admires the minister's growth and development. He's about the black man powering up first. And if we can lift ourselves up, then we wouldn't have to worry about anybody else. I like his elevation. His elevation has grown. And watching his elevation over the years, I just hope I can even get to 86 to even think of doing something like him. It's a hope anyway, said Mr. Little. How are you powering up if you're calling people black? How are you powering up? How is it? How is it that he's a great man and he's been calling people black and has black people thinking that they could lift their self up when black is the lowest caste? How are you lifting yourself up if you're calling yourself the lowest caste? These people need a bat to their face. This is what they need because they sold you out. They lied. And all because what they do. What they do. All because
So I feel responsible for having played a major role in developing a criminal organization. It and security and comfort, and will do anything to safeguard their own interests. So I feel responsible for having played a major role in developing a criminal organization. It was not a criminal organization at the outstart, anything to safeguard their own interests. So I feel responsible for having played a major role in developing a criminal organization. It was not a criminal organization at the outstart.
Why? Why wasn't it a criminal organization from the outstart? Because it was the Moorish Science Temple of America from the outstart. And Fard Muhammad and Elijah Muhammad and the whole crew came out of Moorish Science Temple of America in Detroit. And then the other sellout over there was Lomax Bay. And Drew Ali told these Moors that Detroit and Chicago are doomed for what they did to Noble Drew Ali. And isn't Detroit doomed? But listen to the Prophet. So by the time you get to El Hajj, and then he finds out, he finds out, do you think he's Malik El for nothing? Do you think he's Malik El because he didn't know he's a Moor? Of course he knew he was a Moor. That's why the L's there. He found out that they lied. That's why he exposed their whole shit. That's why they murdered him. And they murdered him in front of his wife and his children, so they know what's up. These are supposed to be his brothers and all that. NOI brothers and all that stuff.
It was an organization that had the power, the spiritual power, to reform the criminal. And this is what you have to understand. As long as that strong spiritual power was in the movement, it gave the moral strength to the believer that would enable him, and this is what you have to understand. As long as that strong spiritual power was in the movement, it gave the moral, and this is what you have to understand. As long as that strong spiritual power was in the movement, it gave the moral strength to.
You think he's stressing that moral strength for nothing? One thing they never show is the stands when they show these stuff. They glimpse through the people in the crowd. Most times the stuff you see is them talking. Now that spiritual power that he's talking about that it had at its beginning is the fact of this being about nationality. Well, you think he was going to the UN and all that because he found out what's up. He found out what's up. He found out the key. Nationality is the order of the day. And he was talking about it too. And he was saying how no one recognizes them in the international world. No one recognizes them as any Islamic anything. They're a fraud. Because everybody knows they came out of the Moorish Science Temple of America. And they have Moorish nationality cards and fezzes and all that stuff. And then they sell out and then they want to get honors. No, they want to get honors around the zombies who don't study and don't look stuff up. And then miss the message. Bringing up some Malcolm Little. They're not going to talk about Malik El. Just like how it was Vince Carter with the afro had to jump over a guy in the Olympics. The same way El-Hajj with the beard is the one that you want to go focus on if you're going to go study him. You don't worry about the clean-shaven stuff and the Malcolm Little stuff and all that. Don't worry about that. You focus on when he came back from Hajj and his mindset then. And you'll realize why they murdered him. You realize immediately why they murdered him. He found out about the nationality and that these people were hiding it from the people. You think Muhammad was Ali for? Because they were jacking the energy. And because he was sincere as he was, and you know what I mean, he turned the key. Just by being called Ali, activated God in him. Wasn't he Allah with them hands? Tell me he wasn't Allah with them hands. What the hell are you talking about? But they did, but you know, because that's a generic name in the Islamic realm. Nobody really even realized, hey, they called him Ali. Nobuju Ali is Ali. Hey, why they call him Ali? How come he's not X and all that stuff like all these other guys? X forever. How come he's not 57X forever? How he get Ali? How he get a holy name so fast? He just came in yesterday, he got a holy name? And then you go check and you're going to see pictures with him in fezzes and all that. You have a fez on because he doesn't know he's a Moor?
A believer that would enable him to rise above all his negative tendencies. I know, because I went into the movement with more negative tendencies for the betterment of the community by any means necessary. And since tonight we had to get into this old nasty negative subject, we didn't want to bring up our program. We're going to have. But as the African nation, we became proud of it. And became proud of it, we began to have something.
Are you inferring that because of this conspiracy, the attempt was made on your life?
Not necessarily that conspiracy. The attempt was made upon my life because I speak my mind, and
that because of this conspiracy, the attempt was made on your life.
Not necessarily that conspiracy. The attempt was made upon my life because I speak my mind, and I know too much, and they know that I was speaking whether they like it or not.
Because of this conspiracy, the attempt was made on your life.
Not necessarily that conspiracy. The attempt was made upon my life because I speak my mind, and I know too much, and they know that I was speaking whether they like it or not.
Right, because he wasn't their ward. You don't own me, Nation of Islam. You know who I am? I'm Malik El. I'm in my own land. Who are you people? You don't own me. And like he said, I know too much. What too much did he know? He just came back from going meeting with all the African nations and then go to the UN. They killed two birds with one stone. They deaded the UN stuff. They deaded that. And then they deaded him being more popular than the Nation of Islam, who was already these people's agent by 65. These people are already in the pocket. They're already in. No, they started in 1930. Like, he knew what was up. And he was going to tell it all. He was going to tell it all. And they're like, forget that. Get him out of the way. They lied and said 33. It's not 33. It's 30. You know why you're not going to find out that it's 1930? Because you're going to be looking 1930 Nation of Islam. It wasn't called Nation of Islam in 1930. It was called Allah's Temple of Islam in 1930. Research that, and I bet you Elijah Muhammad's name's going to come up tied to Allah's Temple of Islam, founded in 1930, and then changed their name to Nation of Islam in 1933 in order to once again jack the energy of the Moorish stuff by calling themselves nation when they're not a nation. You call people black, that's not a nation. Period. That's not a nation. There's no Islamic nation. There's nothing. There's no Islamic nation. How you can't say that because the black man? No. I can say that because there's all these other Islamic people that are not part of that. So obviously that's not a nation for Islamic people. That's a nation for some people of some Islamic persuasion in North America that are dumbasses. But there's no religious anything. There's no Islamic anything having to do with those people. Those people are fraud. Everybody knows it. And then he was inside. He was inside. And he knew it. He was inside and he knew it. And was snitching on everybody.
Am I urging my followers to take action against the Muslims? No. When you say you rely on Allah, am I urging my followers to take action against the Muslims? No. Am I urging my followers to take action against the Muslims? No. When you say you rely on Allah, am I urging my followers to take action against the Muslims? No. When you say you rely on Allah, you've always been some kind of activist, and you're still thinking you're going to try to infiltrate the organization and win over some of their supporters? Am I going to try and infiltrate their organization and win over some of their supporters? No, I have never tried to win supporters from Elijah Muhammad. Since I have some of their supporters, no, I have never tried to win supporters from Elijah Muhammad. Since I have left the black Muslim movement, I've spoken at these rallies. Those who come, those who don't. But I've never gone out of my way to win over any of his followers and their organization and win over some of their supporters. No, I have never tried to win supporters from Elijah Muhammad. Since I have left the black Muslim movement, I've spoken at these rallies. Those who come, those who don't. But I've never gone out of my way to win over any of his followers. And he himself is fearful because he knows that you don't have to exercise too much energy to win his followers. As soon as they know truth and compare the two. And by the way, this is the brother. Didn't see you there, brother. This is Leon Amir, who was Cassius Clay's secretary. And by the way, this is the brother. Didn't see you there, brother. This is Leon Amir, who was Cassius Clay's secretary, whom they beat unmercifully up in Boston. And the court freed the men who beat him. Brother, didn't see you there, brother. This is Leon Amir, who was Cassius Clay's secretary, whom they beat unmercifully up in Boston. And the court freed the men who beat him. They fined him $100, was it? Yeah, fined him $100. And he was on the inside of the black Muslim specialty squad. And I know it. And it was he who heard Elijah Muhammad Jr. come to New York when Elijah Muhammad was at the Armory in June of last year. Jr. stood up and told the fruit, many of whom are here now also, that I should have been killed, that my tongue should have been put in an envelope and sent back to Chicago by now. And inside of the black Muslim specialty squad. And I know it. And it was he who heard Elijah Muhammad Jr. come to New York when Elijah Muhammad was at the Armory in June of last year. Jr. stood up and told the fruit, many of whom are here now also, that I should have been killed, that my tongue should have been put in an envelope and sent back to Chicago by now. And because Fat Joseph had not done it, they demoted him. He remained captain, but Clarence up in Boston was put over Joseph. And Joseph's authority was curtailed. And then Elijah Muhammad Jr. come to New York when Elijah Muhammad was at the Armory in June of last year. Jr. stood up and told the fruit, many of whom are here now also, that I should have been killed, that my tongue should have been put in an envelope and sent back to Chicago by now. And because Fat Joseph had not done it, they demoted him. He remained captain, but Clarence up in Boston was put over Joseph. And Joseph's authority was curtailed. And then Clarence, the captain from Boston, and John, the captain from Springfield, came to New York to assassinate me, and came to him to get a silencer, and couldn't get it. So the police know this. It's not something that's new. They just wait until the job is done, and then they step in.
When you say, do you know that Elijah Muhammad was behind this?
Yes, now, Elijah Muhammad called all of his officials, national officials, to Chicago in October, and ordered them to kill or maim any of his followers who leave him to follow me. Well, when you say, how do I know, many of the brothers who were in at that time are out now. And if this ever come into the court, there are plenty of witnesses who can stand up and testify to it. An implication, an implied threat? I never imply any threats to anyone. I'm a Muslim. My religion is Islam. It's a religion of peace. And, sir?